Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sallam. In the name of Allah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His final messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his companions, and all those who follow him until the day of judgment. Inshallah ta'ala, I'm just going to set up the hangouts and we can hang out, inshallah. Okay. Bismillah. Hangout. MashaAllah.
Security.
Take it easy on him. Take it easy. He's already excused. Okay? Don't begin to bully him now because you're coming to more classes during the week. You know that's not fair. Okay, let me just turn on the Hangouts so that we have 18 people online. Some in Chicago, Dallas, Kentucky. So inshallah, it's supposed to be 18, but all right. So let me just. Assalamu alaikum, Abdul Hakim. Kayfa haluk? How are you? Alhamdulillah, barakallah fiqh, alhamdulillah. So inshallah, we're going to start. I'm going to share the screen so that you can see the presentation, inshallah, and the students here can also see the presentation. Bismillah. All right. So let's go to the presentation. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I hope that saved it. Imagine I didn't. Oh, we messed up. Spent like 3 hours preparing it. Huh? Spent like 3 hours preparing it. You know, gathering it, taking pictures, organizing it, typing, and then it's not saved. That would be mashallah. Okay, there you go. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So, Abd Hakim, if for any reason you don't hear, if anybody doesn't hear, or then inshallah just let me know. You can use the microphone to communicate bi'idhnillah ta'ala. So and if you are on, inshallah double check your mic as the class is on. If you have like noise in the background, I have noise in the background, so I'm in the masjid, so malish, I can't adjust the sound, but it's okay. The sound is okay. We don't mind. Let kids be kids. So inshallah, we're going to start Usool Deen, class 3, the third class, inshallah. And the third class, I put both titles, Uloom al-Quran, because it's 2 titles, okay? Uloom al-Quran is the Quranic sciences, and Usool al-Tafsir is the methodology specifically about interpretation of the Quran. So there's 2 things, okay? Sometimes they're intertwined, all right? And in order to do tafsir, you need Uloom al-Quran. So you need that, right? Those components. Now, for some of us, there's some things that are review, right? But here you can visualize it because the other classes we do them more oral. Here I got a PowerPoint presentation with bullet points so that it gives you time to refresh your memory with what we have covered. I brought some of my toys, some of my books, so that whenever we talk about a topic, I will pull the book that goes with the topic and share the name of the teacher, right? So that you can see. I can also share, for example, the books that I studied in Azhar. So these are the books. This is my Uloom al-Quran book, and then the Tafsir of Surah al-Kahf that we studied it 1 whole year, just Surah al-Kahf. It's chapter 18, 1 year, and we tested on it and everything, alhamdulillah. And then this, the book that I believe you have, Sister Khadija, Usool al-Tafsir, you have it with you? So this is the same thing when I was studying it in 2009. So this is the printout from the Islamic Online University, and this is the printout of the same book, but in printed format when I was studying it. So inshallah, we will use some of that book. We will use a section from this little booklet, which is from a top scholar from Saudi Arabia named Abdul Muhsin Al-Abbad, and he's a top mufti as well. And he wrote a nice, this little booklet, which is أهمية, the importance, العناية بالتفسير والحديث والفقه, the importance of seeking help in tafsir, hadith, and fiqh. Those three subjects are essential for understanding. Let me just okay, the correct understanding of the Quran, hadith, and its sciences, right? And we talked about it last week, and we showed the pictures of the chains, right? And all that. And then fiqh. Fiqh, you use Quran, you use hadith, you use language to find rulings so that then you can practice your deen. That's fiqh. Fiqh is the results of the search, right? Like what you're supposed to do. That's fiqh. The fruits of the tree. Okay? I'm gonna give you an example and we will move forward. But this is it's a fun example. Now, maybe I showed it before, inshallah ta'ala, so that we can benefit. Bismillah, I guess I will have a marker. Bismillah. So I'm gonna try to do it like super quick, inshallah. I'm gonna move this here so that those that are watching on YouTube can see the screen, all right? Those that are watching also on Hangouts, you can open up on YouTube, Imam Daniel Hernandez, and the class is live on YouTube. So anytime, I make the announcement, the class is gonna be, so that's where I record it so that the quality is good, okay? So we record it on YouTube, and then we do live Hangouts so that if anybody has questions, they can ask and interact, and they can see the screen like big, like this in their computer, because I'm sharing my computer screen. So this is the way they see it. So they have that access. That's the benefit of Hangouts. You can do interactive, and you can see this, okay? And the benefits of YouTube is the quality, the live quality, and then we have the on-site where you get both, right? We have 3 different channels trying to bring benefit. That's it. And it takes preparation, alhamdulillah. So I'm gonna quickly show you, we talked about fiqh, right? It's briefly. So in fiqh, you have a tree, right? I'm gonna just quickly, right? So we have the fruits is fiqh, right? Which is the fatwas. Then you have Usool fiqh, right? Usool al-fiqh is how do you arrive at that ruling? How do you arrive at that? What are the tools that you need? So for Usool al-fiqh, you need Quran and its sciences, right? You need Hadith, Sunnah, right? And sciences. You need the sayings of the Sahaba. You need to know culture. You need also qiyas, analogy, right? So these are the things. So you need sciences, all of that we're going to talk about today. You need that to use to get law. You need what we talked about last week. You need that. Language, you need that. So this is how you get fatwas, right? Then you look at the maqasid, which is the objectives. Objectives, right? The objectives are 1, Deen, preservation of Deen, 2, life. 3, wealth. 4, lineage. 5, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, intellect. And 6, honor. So all of the Islamic law strives, its objective is to preserve this. To preserve your religion, your intellect, your life, your wealth, your lineage, and your honor. All of the Islamic law revolves around these objectives. And if there's a conflict, then there's a problem. Then we have to look, there's a problem. Why there's a problem? Right? ISIS goes and kills innocent people. That goes against the Sharia, against the objectives of the Sharia. You take intoxicants, it affects your brain. That goes against the effect of your life, of your health, right? So it goes against the Sharia. You get involved in some activity that prevents you from making salah, that affects your deen. Okay? You get into relationships and don't get married, that affects your lineage, because how are we going to know what family you're from? If you have children with that they don't know their fathers, etc., right? So it affects society. And then your honor. The honor of the Muslim is sacred. The honor of the believer, that's what the Prophet said. And we have to preserve each other's honor. Even though somebody makes a mistake, we still have to preserve their honor. You see that? And if we don't, if we embarrass them in the name of correcting, then we are not applying the objective of the Sharia. We have to use wisdom into doing it, and we don't compromise none of these. Okay? So you have the objective, right? The objective, the usool, and then you have something that keeps you within the boundaries, right? And this is called qawaid. Qawaid, right? The qawaid are also 5, the qawaid al-kubra. Intention, right? Leaving doubt. No harm and no reciprocating harm. There are customs or rule. Customs. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. لا دم محكمة لا ضرر ولا ضرار اليقين يزول والشاق الأمور بمقاصدها المشقة تجب التيسير hardship necessitates ease. These are the 5 big principles that are the framework of all the Sharia. So this is the framework of all the Sharia. These are the objectives of the Sharia. And this is how we get Sharia law. And then the fiqh is the result. And another thing that we need, right, because we have 4 schools, right? We need to also learn the differences. The differences within the schools. Why? So that you can use it as leverage. Like for example, being in America is a different reality. It's not like being in Saudi Arabia. It's not like being in other countries, right? So we have to take that reality and then we use the 4 schools to make it easy for our reality, for our situation, right? So if there is a need, okay? So that's just why fiqh is important. Because this is all about life. It's all about your life. It's about getting it right with Allah so that you can meet Allah correctly, right? So we don't have to know all this. I'm showing you this so that you can know this is what the scholars, they know, and when they give us an answer, they already did all this work. All right, just for one question. You have to use or employ all of this just to get one answer. It's not like, oh, what's the answer for this? Habib, you have to wait. It's not a drive-thru, it's not Burger King. You have to wait. It takes work. Why? Because if I'm going to speak on behalf of Allah and His Messenger, there's a big accountability on my neck. So I have to be very cautious in answering. So if you're serious about the Deen, then when we answer a question, give time. Right? Give time for the answer, inshallah. We'll try to Bismillah. Put this book here. Okay, so let us proceed. Just introduction to the three subjects of fiqh. That's in fiqh, and that's going next week actually. That's the last class. So you got an intro for next week. All right. This is the class. This is all that we're going to cover. All right. Some of the things we covered. All right. So number one, the compilation of the Quran. The Sahabas is a bigger list of Sahabas that were masters in the Quran. Schools and regions, right? The three regions, the three schools. The Tabi'een, who were those Tabi'een that were students of the Sahaba? And how many times they studied, and we'll share this, right? And how do we know about these people? How do we find that information, right? So for every one of these points, there is a book here about that, all right? So for example, if I want to talk about the science, Uloom al-Quran, right? Uloom al-Quran is a science. So we look at, Bismillah. So here we have the book, Al-Itqan, right? Here we have the same book. This is the book that was used to make this book. This is the original book. I had it in Egypt, alhamdulillah, I studied it. So this is the original book of this. So when I saw this, I was so happy because I knew, right? If you read in the back, it will say that this book was derived from the book of Salahuddin al-Qadan. Salahuddin al-Qadan. So this is this, right? But the original book is this one. This is the original full version, 2 volumes of the Itqan. This is the original. Okay? I'll give you a glimpse so that you can see. This is the original of the Itqan. Okay? Of Imam al-Suyuti. Okay? This is the original. Imam al-Suyuti is gonna be in this class many times. You're gonna see. Okay? So this is this, right? But we also have the original. I have it in a different version because this is it's an older version, and this is the classical way of writing on the side, and they will write on the top, and sometimes they will write here. One explanation, another scholar will write here, does another explanation, another scholar, and unless you have a teacher, you don't know how to navigate that book. You don't know where to start, where to go. Okay, so every book has a methodology. Every scholar has a methodology of how they organize their books. All right, so Jalaluddin al-Suyuti wrote this book. And this is the full version. It's 4 volumes. This is the full version of the Itqan. Okay? Then we have, this is the sample like I showed you. This is a sample of the Itqan. And then we also have, we get into the era of compilation, right? So we have 3 eras: the era of the Prophet, the era of Abu Bakr and Umar, and the era of Uthman. Alayhi salam, radiallahu anhum, ajmain. So the era of the Prophet ﷺ, the Quran was being compiled in stones, in rocks, in tree barks, in shoulder blade of an animal, in bones, anything that was available that was pure, it had to be pure. It can't be najis. It has to be pure. Anything that was pure, a tree is pure, a rock is pure, anything that's pure you can write on it. But then you have to be pure too. You have to have wudu to write. And you have to say Bismillah before. So there's also an adab of writing. But the Sahaba, they will write in anything because that's what they wanted to preserve the Quran, right? So they will write in anything, just with that objective in mind. Now, Bismillah, somebody's, okay. Okay, so then we have the Sahabas. These are the Sahabas who were known for being masters of the Quran, in tafsir, understanding the Quran. The Khulafa al-Rashidun, the 4 Khalifas, okay? Aisha radiallahu ta'ala, she was with the Prophet. Revelation came in her house. Ibn Mas'ud, Ibn Abbas, Ubay ibn Ka'b, Zayd ibn Thabit was a scribe. They didn't put Ali radiallahu ta'ala also, who was a scribe. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Anas ibn Malik, Abdullah ibn Umar, Jabir ibn Abdullah, Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. So here you have even the son, like the son of Umar ibn Khattab, the son of Amr ibn al-As. You see that? Even the children are also working, right? So it's not only for fathers to work and children to. Then we have schools and regions. So we have the school of Ibn Abbas located in Mecca. Ibn Abbas is in Mecca. Ubay ibn Ka'b was located in Medina. He was the master in Quran in that time. So therefore people will go as a reference point to Ubay ibn Ka'b. Ibn Mas'ud in Iraq. Ibn Mas'ud went to Iraq. A lot of the madhab of Imam Abu Hanifa comes from Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala. So that's where, these are the 3 locations. Now we go into the school of Ibn Abbas in Iraq. Main students, Jabir, Muhammad Mujahid ibn Jabir, Ikrimah, and Sa'id ibn Jubayr. Okay? So now when you look at how do I find this information, right? Then you have the school of Ubay ibn Ka'b, location Medina, students Zayd ibn Aslam, Abu Aliya, Muhammad ibn Ka'b al-Kulathi. Right, these are the students of Ubay ibn Ka'b. Then you have the school of Ibn Mas'ud. Students Hassan al-Basri, the famous Hassan al-Basri, rahimahullah. Al-Qama ibn Qais, Masruq al-Aswad. So how do I learn about these individuals? So there is a book called Tabaqat al-Mufassirin, which is the floors, right, the levels of the Mufassirin, how to get to the first, right? So this is the Tabaqat al-Mufassirin. So this goes from the Sahabas all the way to the scholars that wrote about Quran and so on. And this is the list of names from the oldest to, so they have this for all the different sizes. They have in the school of Imam Shafi, they have a book called Tabaqat al-Shafi'iyya. And they have different books. Tabaqat al-Qurra. The Tabaqat, the list of names of those qalis that were specialists in reciting of the Quran. Excuse me. And then we also have Tafsir wal Mufassirin. So this book, it's a gem. In the beginning, they have a big introduction about it, but then when you go, for example, to the students of, for example, this is the way it looks. So these are the 2 books, Tabaqat al-Mufassirin. And who wrote Tabaqat al-Mufassirin? Since you guys are learning Arabic, right? I'm gonna point right here, right? Al-Hafiz Jalal Deen Abdul Rahman As-Suyuti. Okay? So the same one that wrote this book, Al-Itqan, about the sciences of Quran, he also wrote a book about the list of the scholars of Quran from the time of the Sahabas to his time. A list. Okay? So I'm gonna put Jalaluddin Suyuti's books like this, his works like this, okay? So that's the second one. So he did Uloom al-Quran and the names of the scholars of Quran. Okay? Now, when you look at, for example, Tafsir al-Mufassirin. So for example, Mujahid ibn Jabir. Mujahid ibn Jabir, we're going to look at Mujahid, we're going to go to the school of Ibn Abbas only, okay? So we're going to go, Ibn Abbas was the cousin of the Prophet, right? He was the cousin of the Prophet. He was the one that the Prophet put his hand on him and said, Allahumma faqihu fi din wa alimhu ta'wil. Oh Allah, teach him, give him the fiqh of the deen, right? Give him the fiqh of the deen and teach him the interpretation of the Quran. The Prophet put his hand on him and Allah blessed Ibn Abbas with being the scholar of this ummah when he was a young boy. Okay? They say that when the Prophet died, he was approximately like 13. Okay? And even amongst the big Sahabas, he was respected because of his knowledge and insight. So let's go to his students. Mujahid ibn Jabir. Honestly, when you look at Ibn Kathir, you find the name Mujahid all over the place. Okay? In the book Ibn Kathir, even in English, Mujahid said that Ibn Abbas said. You saw so many times this name comes up. Now who was he? And so I'm going to give you a brief, right? So Mujahid ibn Jabir, it is related by Al-Fadl ibn Maymun that Mujahid said, I read the Quran to Ibn Abbas 3 times, stopping at every verse and listening to its explanation. You know how we do an explanation of 2 verses and it takes like 30 minutes? Okay? And this is us. But Ibn Abbas, who sees the Prophet and sees the environment, has so much support and information, imagine that tafsir. So Mujahid said, I read the Quran to Ibn Abbas 3 times, stopping at every verse and listening to its explanation. Then there's another narration that he said, that is said, and it was related that Imam Shafi and Bukhari relied heavily on the sayings of Mujahid. Also, that Bukhari said that Mujahid was reliable and very reliable in his transmission of the sayings of Ibn Abbas. Then there is another saying that Mujahid read the Quran. He read the Quran to Ibn Abbas 30 times. But this time it was just recitation. So 30 times for recitation so that Ibn Abbas can check him. Okay? 30 times. And for the understanding, 3 times. If you see the Ibn Kathir, which is like Ibn Kathir, I'm gonna go quickly. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay. So you see this collection right here? These these 15 volumes? This is the full version of Ibn Kathir. What we have in English is abridged, and it's 10 volumes. So read carefully in the front. It says abridged Ibn Kathir, and it's 10 volumes. The full version is 15 volumes. Okay? And majority of the sayings are Mujahid, who relates an Ibn Abbas. Okay? 15 volumes. I just wanted to show you so that you can, if I say it is one thing, but if you see, it's another thing. So we go back, we get in there. Okay, so Asbab al-Nuzul. Now we get to the next topic, right? So we're going to go back to the beginning. In the beginning we said we're going to talk about the schools, the compilation of the Quran, right? The Sahaba, the school, the regions, the Tabi'een. We talked a little bit about Mujahid ibn Jabir, right? Mujahid ibn Jabir. Now we go to number 5. Number 5 is Asbab al-Nuzul. So in Asbab al-Nuzul, and we're going briefly, right? We did a whole class on it last time. Asbab al-Nuzul, Asbab means reason. Nuzul means descending, revelation. Asbab and Nuzul, the reason for revelation. The benefits of knowing Asbab and Nuzul. Number 1, you know the reason behind a verse. Number 2, you know the objectives of the Sharia. Number 3, it was answers to questions that were asked to the Prophet. Number 4, it corrects human mistakes of the Prophet. So when you hear the reason for revelation for the Surah Abasa, it was that the Prophet turned away and frowned. Okay? What the reason for the revelation of Surah Kahf, this whole surah. Why? The Prophet ﷺ didn't say Inshallah, and Allah stopped the revelation and then revealed the whole Surah Al-Kahf, 110 verses, as a response. Okay? So you answering questions, correcting human mistakes of the Prophet ﷺ, knowing gradually the legislation, what verse was revealed first, second, third, right? So that you can know. And then stories. The stories of the prophets, the stories of so you know the stories of the people of the past, etc. From the books Asbab al-Nuzul, you have Asbab al-Nuzul. This is Asbab al-Nuzul. This book goes from the beginning, from Surah Al-Fatiha unto Surah Al-Nas, whatever this scholar knew specifically why this verse was revealed. So the whole Quran is here from what this scholar collected. So this scholar's name is Al-Imam As-Suyuti. So we go back, Imam As-Suyuti wrote a whole book about the reasons for revelation. Okay? So we go like this, for example, Surah Al-Dariyah, verse 19. So he wrote Surah Al-Dariyah, Makkiyah, it has 60 ayats, verse 19. This is why verse 19 was revealed. Just very brief, little details. Okay, so this is Imam As-Suyuti wrote about the reasons for revelation. Okay, another works of Imam As-Suyuti. And also, mashallah, they have it in English too, right? And then we have 2 other books on the reasons for revelation that they recently published. Is not complete because one of the first scholars that wrote about Asbab al-Nuzul was Imam al-Wahidi. So this one we have it is only, it covers 4 parts of the Quran, right? Very brief, 4 parts is a small book. And then this one also covers the same 4 parts, but it's another scholar named Ali ibn Ahmad ibn Naysabur, and they're both from Naysabur. Okay, they're both from Naysabur, from the same land as Imam Muslim and Naysabur, which is in Iran. Okay? So you see, these are books that are available in English on the reasons for revelation. Now, in knowing the reasons for revelation, right, we understand the Mecca and the Madani. The Mecca surahs are short, talk about Tawheed, about the hereafter, address the mushrikeen, specific people, right? And there was not much legislation in the time of Mecca, except before the Hijrah Salah was legislated during Isra Miraj. Okay? Then the Madani, long ayahs. The Sharia legislation, fasting was prescribed the second year of Hijrah, Zakat, Hijab, alcohol. The second year of the Hijrah, which was 15 years after the revelation, 15 years, they were allowed the rights of self-defense. 15 years. They waited 15 years to defend themselves. 15 years. 13 years in Mecca and 2 years in Medina. That's 15 years, approximately, because it's not exactly 13 years that they lived in Mecca. It's 12 years and some change. Okay? Specifically, but they usually kind of summarize it, right? All right, so here we have, and then here it addressed the mushrikeen, here addressed the people of the book, new Muslims, the Ansars, the migrants, okay? So this is why knowing what surahs are Makkis, what surahs are Madani, the Makki surahs, for example, Noon, that's it. وَالْقَلَمِ وَمَا يَسْتُرُونَ مَا أَنْتَ بِنِعْمَةِ رَبِّكَ بِمَجْنُونَ Brief. Ar-Rahman عَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنِ Why? So that by the time they cover their ear, a verse already went in their ear. Ar-Rahman, done. By the time you go like this, it's too late. Ar-Rahman is in your ear already. Alif, Lam, Mim. They get confused, like what's going on? What's this? Right? Now it calls their attention. Why is letters? And then comes Surah Al-Baqarah and Surah Al-Imran, big surah. Okay? Now, so we have the Makkis and Madanis. Then we have 7 letters. It is said that the Quran was revealed 7 ahruf in the Hadith. Seven letters. What does this mean? There are 40 opinions about this. Alright? But the majority of the scholars of later days and our Salaf say that the Uthmani script comprises of 7 styles. That Jibreel read the Quran, taught the Quran to the Prophet in 7 different styles. 7 different dialects. So that it can address the different dialects that exist. Alright? And different dialects also have different culture. Now, then we have the recitations. So we have 14 recitations. 7 are the strong ones, right? So these are the 7. I highlighted because these are the famous names. Ibn Amir, look, he died in the 8th year of Hijri, like a little bit after the death of the Prophet. Okay? Ibn Kathir al-Makki, this is not Ibn Kathir the Mufassir, right? Here, 45 Hijri to 120. Nafi', Abu Amr, Asim, we read Hafs Asim. That's what we read in Salah. Hafs took it from Asim. This is the recitation that we read. Then we have Hamza, and then we have Al-Kasai, okay? Now, there is a book that I have here that is called, alhamdulillah, the author is my teacher. So he gave me a little dedication, and alhamdulillah, I have permission to teach this book. I studied this book. So this is my teacher, Sheikh Walid, the author. And I studied this book with one of his main students, Sheikh Mamdouh, who lived with him, who studied with him 5 years when he went to Minnesota. Okay, so I studied this book 1 year with Sheikh Mamdouh. And this book looks at the 14 recitations and how it affects the fiqh and how it affects aqidah. Like for example, when it says in the verse of wudu, يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوسكم وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. Or you who believe, when you come to Salah, wash your faces and your hands unto your elbow. واغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسحوا برؤوس, wipe your head. وامسحوا برؤوسكم وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ, and wash your feet. So when it has fatha, now we're going to try to listen carefully. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسل وجوها فاغسل وجوهكم, wash your faces, right? وأيديكم, so أيديكم goes back to washing. وأيديكم, wash your hands. إلى المرافق, to your elbows. وامسح, and wipe. وامسح برؤوسكم, not رؤوسكم. رؤوسكم, that means wipe, not wash. وامسح برؤوسكم. Then here's the focal point. وأرجلكم إلى الكعبين. It didn't say arjulikum, it said arjulakum. So that fatha goes back to what? Wiping or washing? Washing. يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قمتم إلى الصلاة فاغسلوا وجوهكم وأيديكم إلى المرافق وامسح برؤوسكم وأرجلكم. أرجلكم fatha. So it's fatha, that means washing. But there's 3 different recitations for this ayah. And the other recitation, فَامْسَحْ بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلِكُمْ إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ, that means wipe your feet. And then the other recitation, وَامْسَحْ بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلُكُمْ Dhamma إِلَى الْكَعْبَيْنِ. So أَرْجُلُكُمْ means wipe and wash. The Shia, they use the one أَرْجُلِكُمْ, so they don't wash their feet, they wipe. They do mess. Okay? So see how a vowel, just one letter, one vowel, a fatha or a kasra or a dhamma, how it changes the meaning. So the title of this book is a long title. Al-Athar, the impact that the 14 recitation have on fiqh and aqidah, these 2 subjects. Okay? And he gives examples, verses, and this. And here he has a brief bio of each of those, of the 14 scholars. Each of the 14 recitations. And Sheikh Mamdouh has ijaza from Sheikh Walid on the 10 recitations of the Quran. Okay? So this is a book about the recitations and how the meaning changes. Okay? Now the methods of tafsir. The methods of tafsir, number 1 is Quran by Quran. I forgot to take a picture, but I brought the book anyways. So the method of tafsir, Quran by Quran. So the Quran by Quran, for example, so you see this Quran that has the colors, right? So you have the dark yellow and the light yellow. The dark yellow is talking only about prophets. The light yellow is talking about nations of the past, but not prophets. It doesn't specify. Okay? So, if I want to do tafsir of the Quran by the Quran about the prophets, thematic, right? Then I look at all the dark yellow sections and take the verses, put them together, and study them. And then I did a research about the prophets. Okay? Now, if I look at the darker blue, this darker blue, because there's a lighter one than that. That's what I'm saying. I know it's not dark blue, but there's a darker one. There's a lighter one than this, right? So there's Bismillah. No, actually that's the lighter one. This is a darker one. So this darker one, talks about the signs of Allah. All right, the signs of Allah in the creation. So I want to look at the signs of Allah. I go through the book. All the darker blue talk about the signs of Allah. Signs of Allah. Okay, dark purple and so that helps. It's sometimes complicated to find, to do research, right? To do research on these important topics. Nobody knows that I just left and went to the back, and I have no good manners. I just leave the class and get water. No, I just went to get another book. Okay? That's all I went. I went to get another book. This book is called Nadrat al-Na'im. Okay? I'm going to show you. So we mentioned that in the method of tafsir, I'm going to show you how this book is 12 volumes. I have the set. Okay, 12 volumes like this. And these 12 volumes were compiled by Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, by 31 scholars. Okay? And each one has a specific specialization. Arabic language, tafsir, hadith. Okay? So now, and the way they put this book together, so these are the themes, right? Like this, al-indar, the warning, al-insaf, being easy in your dealings when solving problems, al-infaq, spending. Okay, so when you look at, for example, al-bir, right? Al-bir. So the word al-bir, so this is the way it's done, right? So you see this little square here? This little insignificant square that looks like just drawing. Somebody has space and no, it's significant. You know what it is? It tells you that in the Quran 41 times the word bir is used. It tells you that there are 43 hadith that are verified that talk about bir. It tells you that there's 5 athar that are verified that are by the tabi'een or the sahaba, that it doesn't go back to the Prophet, but there are valid sayings about the word bir. Okay? But not only that, you see, you know what they did? They just don't give you this little square. All of this here is the word bir linguistically. And you have Imam al-Ghazali and famous scholars also given their definition about the word bir. This is linguistically, right? Right? And not only, hold up. Now it gives you, you know what it does? It gives you all of the verses of the Quran in order that talk about bir. You notice I had mentioned how many verses of the Quran? Here are all the verses. Okay? Plus where they come from. And then now the hadith. All of the hadith, the 43 hadith, here you go, in order. The 43 hadith about bir. The 43 hadith. And then here more hadith about bir. Okay? This is all about bir. And then bir, righteousness, according to the athar, the 5 narrations about athar. And then the benefits of righteousness of bir. Here, the benefits, and that's it. Then we go to the next subject. This is your verified Google. But it was prepared by 30 scholars. It's a little bit different than Wikipedia. Wikipedia, there's a benefit, but anybody can put whatever. That's the difference. We find good information, but sometimes you have to sift through it. This is already like there. So this is 12 volumes, okay, researched.
What's the name?
Nadrat al-Na'im. I'll send you the link. PDF is available, but it's not in English. But inshallah, that's how we have objectives to learn, right? I'm using it to motivate, please. Don't look, you got a Puerto Rican brother here talking to you about this stuff. Nobody in their mind ever thought that I was gonna go and study to learn this, right? Alhamdulillah. I'm addicted to this. This is my life. This is my life. But the iman, the way it benefits me, I gain the most benefit of all at the end of the day. All right, now. So you see how this is language, 4 things, right? Quran, all the references about the Quran, right? Then all the references related to hadith, right? Then language, right? 3 things, look. Number 1, Quran by Quran. Number 2, Quran by hadith. Number 3, Quran by athar, right? Athar, right? Number 4, Quran by language. Okay? 4 of the most important steps to understanding the Quran is here too. This is the same process. And then is the opinion. Before jumping into this, you have to do your research on this and your research on this. Right? You're going to say, oh, about this topic, how many times is it mentioned in the Quran? I don't know. Then do your homework. Okay? Why? Because Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, when the Prophet died, they will come to her and they will ask her questions. And she will ask, did you look in the Quran? She said, no, go look first, before she gave an answer. And then she will say, they will come back, I looked, I didn't find the answer. Did you look in the narration of the Prophet? No, go search first. And after they put in some work, then she will give an answer. She won't just give an answer. Anybody come and ask, oh, what's the ruling on this? Have you read? Have you studied one chapter on fiqh? No? Then study it first. Get an idea about what it is. Right? Get an idea about that tree. What it is. What does it take? Right? Alright, so let's proceed inshallah. We're almost done. Now for tafsir, we have this book that I also studied with Sheikh Mamdouh, also almost a year, I believe.
Sheikh Mamdouh is here?
He's in North Houston. Yeah. So I would go on Sundays from here, and I would drive 1 hour to sit in his house and take this class. So now Sheikh Walid's in Minnesota. So these are some of my notes from the class, just for the little extra work, right? So alhamdulillah, so I have ijazah in this book. I have a license to teach this book. So this is the book in Arabic, Usool Tafsir by Ibn Taymiyyah, and this is the book in English with the explanation of Shaykh Uthaymeen, rahimahullah. But this book needs a teacher. It's difficult. The Usool Tafsir of Bilal Phillips is a better intro to it. This is a little bit deeper. Like this, Ibn Taymiyyah gets deep, and he will say, like, for one word, you have 6 different angles to look at it. And he will tell you how to look at a word. Okay, that's complicated. You need to be a specialist to be able to know that, right? And alhamdulillah, Shaykh Uthaymeen explains it very well, but you need a teacher for that. This is a little book, all right? Now, I'm sorry, that's my library. All right? So the reason I brought this, it has a purpose. It's not just to show. Allah knows best. The top row is all related to Quran. That's it. Tafsir, sciences of Quran. The second row, these are the 6 books of Hadith. This is the science of Hadith. All science of Hadith, Muwatta, and Darimi that I showed, that I brought here. I brought this one, this one. The explanation of the 40 Hadith, the explanation of the 40 Hadith. Jalaluddin al-Suyuti's Tadrib. This is Fiqh al-Shafi. This is Fiqh al-Shafi. This is because I'm using some of the books. This is all Fiqh, Islamic Jewish. This is Fiqh Hanafi. This is Fiqh Hanafi. This is Fiqh Hanafi. This is fiqh Maliki, Muwatta. And then you have more, and then this is principles of Islamic jurisprudence from that tree. This is Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, Usool al-Fiqh. This is what my teacher said. This is from Usool al-Fiqh al-Maliki, Usool al-Fiqh Shafi. This is fatwas from Sheikh Salah Sawi. This dictionary here is one of the biggest dictionaries of Arabic language. Lisan al-Arab. This is Arabic language. Some of the books from Azhar, and on the other side is my English library, the same size. These are my toys. This is my Legos. This is how I play. I can look and I know where and I do not place a book on my library unless I read the introduction. So I read the introduction of all these books, so that I can have a map of what I want to get out from this. So this book here, this one is a book of tafsir, but it's a book of hadith. So this book is a scholar, Hanafi scholar, who studied all of the hadith that are in the book of tafsir of Imam al-Samakhshari. So this scholar did takhrij. He checked every hadith in the tafsir of Imam al-Samakhshari. And this same scholar, he's from South Africa, he wrote a book called Nisb al-Raya, and Nisb al-Raya studies 8,000 hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. And he verified each one. That's called takhrij. Takhrij is like this hadith, you will say, you find it in Imam Muslim, Imam Bukhari, Imam this, Imam that. So you reference it. That's called takhrij. Okay? So then, now when you go into tafsir, so you have tafsir al-Jalalain, tafsir al-Jalalain, okay? The original one, I'm going to show you now. Tafsir al-Jalalain is by a scholar by the name of Jalaluddin al-Suyuti. Put it back here, right? He wrote a tafsir book, too. He wrote his first tafsir at the age of 2. The tafsir from Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Age of 2?
Uh-huh. Okay? Yeah. So these are the men that people, when they will seek knowledge, they will ask about who are these men. These are the type of men that carried our deen, and we got.
Age of 2 years?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. So we get to it, right? So here we have the summary of Ibn Kathir, right? Zubdat al-Tafasir is an abridgment of a tafsir of Fath al-Qadir. Fath al-Qadir, this is Fath al-Qadir of Imam al-Shawkani. And then this is the full version of Tafsir al-Sa'di. So it's in 1 volume. But if you put it in book format, it's 8 volumes. But it's in 1 volume. And then Tafsir Ibn Kathir.
So age of 2 years, what is the name of that?
Jalaluddin al-Suyuti. The same one that wrote Asbab al-Nuzul, the same one that wrote the biographies of the scholars of Tafsir, the same one that wrote on the science of Hadith, the same one that wrote Shudud al-Dahab on the science of Qawaid al-Fiqhiyya, the same one that wrote many other books. This is the writings of Imam al-Suyuti. This is the handwriting from the original Tafsir al-Jalalain, because the real good books, they will have scholars, they will write, they will have the introduction, and actually it's not only by Jalaluddin al-Suyuti, I'm sorry. It's Jalalain. There's two scholars named Jalal. One of them is Jalaluddin al-Mahalli and Jalaluddin al-Suyuti. So Jalaluddin, let me just quickly look back, inshallah ta'ala. Okay, so Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, here it is. So, Jalaluddin al-Mahalli wrote the tafsir from Surah Al-Fatiha until okay, he wrote tafsir of Surah Al-Fatiha and from Surah Al-Kahf to Surah Al-Nas. Okay? So Jalaluddin al-Mahalli wrote the tafsir of Al-Fatiha and from Surah Al-Nas, Surah Al-Kahf to Nas. Jalaluddin al-Suyuti wrote from Surah Al-Baqarah to Surah Al-Kahf. Okay, that's how they divided it. So this is an example of the Tafsir al-Jalalain of the handwriting. Okay? And this is the one we have. See how clear, easy you can read? Right? And this book here is all about the word taqwa. Similar to that book, Nadrat al-Nain. So my teacher, Sheikh Dubaisi, Hafidahullah, he did the explanation of the word taqwa as a thesis for his doctorate. So it's close to 472 pages on the word taqwa. Just the word taqwa.
So you mean that
The language, the tafsir, the meaning.
in age of 2 years, he make a tafsir of Surah Baqarah and Surah Kahf?
No. Just Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim.
Bismillah.
That's it. Nothing else. Just Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Just Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Only Bismillah. Only the word Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and what it means. Okay? So then we also have a, just to conclude, it's called a Burhan, which is on the science of Tajweed, how to read the Quran, like the Makhraj and from Kitab al-Jazariyah. We will go back to the beginning and finish off, inshallah, okay? So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Okay, so this is the class. Test time, I'm just joking. Compilation of the Quran. There were 3 errors, right? Quick summary, drive-through summary, whichever drive-through you want to go through. Compilation of the Quran. 3 errors. What are they? Prophet, Abu Bakr and Omar, and Uthman. Good. Then we have the list of the Sahabas. I'm not going to ask you, that was a long list, right? The list of the Sahabas that were specialized in Quran. Right? This is some. The Khulafa, Aisha ibn Masud ibn Abbas, Ubay ibn Ka'b, Zayd ibn Thabit, Abu Musa al-Ashari, Abdullah ibn Zubayr, Anas ibn Malik, Abdullah ibn Umar, Jabir ibn Abdullah, and Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As.
So the Khulafa is Abu Bakr,
Umar, Uthman, Ali, the 4, yeah. And then you have the Tabi'een, the students, the 4 schools, right? The 3 schools. The school of Ibn Abbas in Mecca, the school of Ubay ibn Ka'b in Medina, the school of Ibn Masud in Iraq. Okay? The top student of Ibn Abbas, Mujahid ibn Jabir, and he read the Quran 3 times to Ibn Abbas, stopping at every verse and getting its meaning, its tafsir. And he read the Quran for recitation purposes 30 times, complete to Ibn Abbas. Okay, 30 times. Then we talked about Asbab and Nuzul, and we shared the benefits, the reasons about knowing the reasons for revelation, right? Why was this verse revealed? And then we also referred to some books, the book of Imam al-Suyuti, Asbab al-Nuzul, Imam al-Wahidi, Asbab al-Nuzul, and others that are available in English. Then we talked about the Makki Madanis, The Makki surahs are short, talk about Tawheed, Aqidah, Iman, right, Akhirah. And the Madani surah are long, talk about Sharia, about Salah, fasting, even though Salah was legislated towards the end of the Makki period, before Hijrah. And then you have the first and the last that was revealed. I didn't get into that because there's differences. And then the seven letters, there are 40 opinions about the seven ahruf, but the majority of the scholars and the Salaf state that the seven ahruf is that the Quran was revealed in 7 dialects. Then we have the 7 recitations, right? The 14 recitations, 7 are the strongest, like the Qira'at al-Salah, and then you have the Qira'at al-Ashr, which are also known, and then you have the Qira'at al-Shad, which is the other 4, which makes it 14, and we show the book of my teacher, which is about the 14 recitations of the Quran. And then its effect on the meaning. And who were those scholars? Who were the 7? The top 7 of the recitation. So you have Ibn Amir, Ibn Kathir, Nafi', Abu Amr, Asim, Hamza, and Al-Kasai. These are the 7. Alright? Then we have the method of tafsir. So there's 4 methods. 4. The 5th also, it's okay, but you have to be careful. Right? You have to go through the process to use the 5th. You have to use Quran by Quran first, Quran by Sunnah, Quran by Athar, Quran by language, and then Quran by opinion. Not jump into Quran by opinion with skipping all the other 4. If we don't, then we have to be careful because we're speaking on behalf of Allah and His Messenger, right? And that's how we go by the scholar. Scholar so-and-so said this, I go by that. It's easier, right? It's easier because they're masters in that. So make it easy. And then we shared one of the books on Usool al-Tafsir of Ibn Taymiyyah. It's available in English. And also Bilal Phillips' Usool al-Tafsir as well, which also is very beneficial. And it has about the 4 schools, has about the students, a little bit about the students, has about the methodology of tafsir, has about the books of tafsir that were written, Ibn Kathir, Al-Baydawi, and other books as well, Tabari, Qurtubi, and it mentions a little bit about each of these books. Also we have another book called Fathul Qadir. Fathul Kabir. Fathul Kabir is from Shah Waliullah Dahlawi. Shah Waliullah from Delhi, from India. And he wrote this very nice book on the science of tafsir and Uloom al-Quran. I studied it, alhamdulillah, with Sheikh Walid as well. It's a very good book. Alhamdulillah, the studies of the Uloom al-Quran are, honestly, if a person wants to just read it, even language, if you learn the basic of reading Arabic language and you want to improve your language, I was told by a specialist, I was with a specialist eating breakfast, and I'm like, Sheikh, he's a Sheikh, so I said, Sheikh, Imam Ziyad from Urban Masjid. So Sheikh, I studied this and that in the Arabic language. What do you recommend for me to add value to whatever I study? He said tafsir. He said just go into the tafsir, read Quran. The scholars, they did the work. Fiqh in the tafsir. Arabic language in the tafsir. All of that in the tafsir. SubhanAllah. Right? So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept from us all. This is just a brief introduction, one session. Alhamdulillah, a little glimpse of the Uloom al-Quran, but at least to keep us motivated, inshallah ta'ala, to understand the Book of Allah, to become familiar with the works of the scholars, so that don't get intimidated if you heard that a 2-year-old did a tafsir. Don't worry, inshallah. The Prophet ﷺ was 40 when he got the revelation. All right, so don't worry about it. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use us. May Allah use us inshallah for His sake. ربنا اتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا. ربنا فاغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. بارك الله فيكم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. We're going to go for Maghrib inshallah.
Change your photograph.
حبيبي ممكن تؤذن إن شاء الله؟ تفضل.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الله يجزيك الخير.
وياكم.